Then what they want is control. And I'm gonna tell you something: 6 feet, 7 figures, blah blah blah. If you control is what you seek, you have the wrong qualifications. Now, if you're looking for a man you can control, you should say lives with his mom, in between jobs, low self confidence, no self esteem. Oh, you can control him all day long. They don't want control. They want daddy. We're right back to that same one subject. They want daddy. See, daddy is tall. Father knows best. He's thunderous. You know why daddy's tall? Daddies are always tall. You know why? Because you're a child. I'm 5'7". My father's 5'6". I swear to God, when I was growing up, I thought he was 9 feet tall. That's because I was 2 feet tall. So she's not looking for a tall man. She's looking for a father. A father is always taller than his 3-year-old daughter. He's always taller than his 3-year-old daughter. See, she needs to look up. She's looking for stability. Look at those qualifications. She's not looking for a mate. She's looking for dad. Dad. That's why they're called sugar daddies. They're not called sugar brothers, sugar friends, sugar mates, sugar soulmates, sugar lovers, sugar BBCs. No. Daddy is what they're called. That's why she says she wants him taller than her, because the last man she saw solve all her problems, make all her pain go away, he was about 4 feet taller than her. She was 4 years old. They're just giving you the qualifications of the father that they want. That's why they never get him, because daddy's gone. It depends on what he wants. See, when people call me, I don't tell them right or wrong. I tell them the right way to achieve their agenda. But you got to understand what type of daddy's girls. You want a daddy girl who had a daddy, not a daddy girl who is comparing you to a figment of her imagination. I'm going to tell you like this here. Superman can't live up to that. Superman doesn't make a lot of money. That's why he lives in the goddamn North Pole. Okay? He doesn't have a lot of money. Batman can't live up to that. He's emotionally unstable. Okay? He hasn't healed from his parents getting killed in front of him. He's a grown-ass man who beats people up for a living in his hobby in his spare time, even though he has $1 billion. He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. See, they're comparing you to something that doesn't exist, and men will always come up short because you cannot compete with a fantasy, because a fantasy is flawless. You can't compete with a fantasy. You see this woman right here? Right here, Marilyn Monroe. No woman can compete with her. You know why? She's dead. See, she'll never get old. She'll never fart. She'll never argue with you because she's dead. She's just a fantasy in my mind, which makes her perfect. There is no woman on the planet that can compete with the woman I have in the figment of my imagination. You can't compete with Jessica Rabbit. I don't care how fine you are. Jessica Rabbit, in my imagination, says all the right things, does all the right things. If I'm mad, she acts one way that pleases me. If I'm happy, she acts the right way that pleases me. You know why? Because she doesn't exist. She doesn't exist. So no, that's why those women end up unfulfilled, because they're looking for a fantasy and they're fantasizing about that one man who could solve all the problems, put the Christmas trees under the so-and-so, pick you up in his arms, tuck you in at night, and make your problems go away. That was your father. That was your father. And he did exist. And he's not with you anymore. For maybe some reason you were brought up by single parents, maybe he passed away, or maybe you just grew up and left the house. But if you grew up with that father, I'm going to tell you one thing about a woman who grows up with a father. She knows that he's a human being. See, she's seen her father try to fix things and quite didn't do it all the way that well, but she loved his effort. She's seen him cook, and it comes out as a culinary abortion, okay? It's just awful. But daddy got in there and tried. So she knows he's not perfect, but he's good and he's great. And women who've had fathers know that this is a good, great man, but he's also flawed, like every human being on the planet. We have our pros and our cons. But the woman without the father, the woman who has qualifications, I asked her chick, are you looking for a husband or are you hiring a husband? This is not a job interview. It's not a job interview. And I told one chick, I said, I want you to realize something. She said, what? I said, you've been talking about marriage, relationship, and commitment over the phone with me for an hour because she paid for an hour session. I said, do you notice you haven't said the word love one time? You haven't said the word love one time. And she's like, yes, I did. I said, no, she was like, oh my God, Mickey, you're right. I said, he's not going to love you, whomever you find, because that's not on your list. He's not going to love you. And he's going to do things that a man who doesn't love you does. It's just that simple.